amazing experience and journey of self-exploration. And now we are about to dig into learning some very powerful truths about some amazing women. So Brutal Courage is our book of the month. And this book is an anthology. For those who are unaware, an anthology is a collection of multiple stories. So it's 12 stories in one book to create one book. And so we've got 12 bold, courageous, fearless, strong, extraordinary women who are telling their stories of overcoming. This book ranges from sharing experiences of abuse to homelessness to loss. And when I say it gets real, it gets raw, it gets brutal, I mean it. And I encourage you to support the ladies and to get a copy of the book.
Please, 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 please do. Hey, ladies. Hey, Venus, what's going on with you?
Hey, boo. Hey. Hey, y'all.
Oh, my
Your
God.
girl just getting off work, and so, listen, but I could not.
Here I am.
Yeah,
well, we're excited to be here today on this great Friday. Tanya, I know that you led this anthology, and what I wanted to know, what I asked before in take one, but I'm gonna ask it again. What was the motive behind getting these women together to tell their story? Because, and Venus was one of these amazing journeys. So
yes, Venus and Audra. Audra is also a part of it, and she may join us late. She may have a conflicting appointment, so we apologize for her not being here, but you know, she sends her love. So the premise behind it, Brutal Courage is actually the second series under my Time to Tell movement, where women come together to tell their stories of overcoming. So Brutal Courage is the second book, and the first book actually started because I wanted to share my story of overcoming suicide, but it wasn't long enough to be a book. And so I was seeking other women who may have gone through the same experience and ended up connecting with women who had other experiences that were as powerful. I mean, these testimonies were amazing, and it ended up being 12 women. And we put together the 12 stories, the 12 journeys, and that was Pretty Sad, Volume 1. So that book was supposed to be one book. It turned into 5 books. And now we're on series 2. I just couldn't do another Pretty Sad. I couldn't do a Pretty Sad 6. We can't keep being pretty and sad. So we about to be brutally courageous, okay? The makeup is off. We've shown it all. Now we're going to show the brutal strength of women and the extraordinary strength of women.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You call them experiences, but they were experiences, or they are experiences. And as Venus is one of the journeys in there, I'm going to say, because we always talk about traumas. So those experiences were some of their traumas that they shared. And Venus, as a trauma coach, I want to know from you as a trauma coach, and also writing about your trauma, one of your traumas in there, like, was that a part of your healing? How did you feel while you were writing that?
You know, it's so crazy because we was just talking about this on my show. And I said, every time I tell my story, it gets easier and easier. I used to cry, break down, why me? And girl, be angry, go through all those emotions. But now it's like, I'm telling a story that has power behind it. I know that I'm telling this story because it's going to help save lives, change lives. Yeah. It's going to encourage and empower other women to stand up, speak up, and talk about what happened, you know, to be strong. So I know that that's an assignment that was given to me. And I think that it comes when we talk about talking about our traumas. To me, the way that I see it is God say, okay, go over there over on that workout bench. I want you to go over and work out. So child, he give you all this stuff, right? And then you either gonna live through the workout or you're gonna die. Now, we already know when you're not gonna die, because if God give it to you, then that means that he's gonna carry you through. Yeah. And so as you're working out, you start to build these muscles. Yeah. And the next thing you know, well, hey, I'm strong, right? Right. And the next thing you know, when somebody step to you, be like, don't step to me like that, because I'll punch you out because I'm strong. Not really for real, but I'm just saying that you get this inner strength that's amazing. That's all I can tell you. So, telling my story and talking about my trauma and being a trauma coach, talking to other people, I'm not going to say it's always easy, but I'm just going to say that I have those muscles that God has given me to be able to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I can imagine that for both of you, when you first started writing about your stories, about your experience, your traumas, when you first started writing about it, you weren't as fluid as you are right now. Yeah. Like, so what I see from day one that we all started talking and we were friends, we began to build this relationship. What I see today is something totally different than what I saw the first day of meeting you ladies. And so I want to encourage you to keep doing that, because guess what happens? Because you told your story and because you've given yourself permission to continue to talk about it, you're continuing your healing process, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't, just because I wrote about it, okay, bam, I'm over that, I'm healed from it. There's still different things that are going to occur. And so I know that, Tanya, with writing this and then reading the other journeys, right? Because you have to read through the other journeys, which I'm sure you related to many of them, maybe not all, but some of them I'm sure you related to in some form or fashion. Did those journeys put you in a position to relive some of the things that you had encountered?
Yes. And I mean, absolutely. Let me say that it did put me on that path, but let me tell you, the first one blew my mind. The first book, all the way up to this last one. Every time I am doing an anthology project, I get attacked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the attack is no joke. But I know now, the first round I didn't get it, right? But it's been 6 or 7 times now. So I know now that it's because the enemy doesn't want these stories out. He don't want these women to get their stories out, because just like you said, it is a healing process. And it's actually what I use now as my healing through writing program to encourage women. I have women who come to me and they're like, I want to write a book. Okay, what do you want to write a book about? I want to write about my life story. Then they start telling me all these things. I recommend that they do the anthology first. Absolutely. Because it's going to put them on the mind frame of writing, but it's going to get some of that. It's almost like when you got to get a little bit, like you got to throw up a little bit, right? Like, you know how when you eat something bad, you got to get it out, or your stomach gonna be upset. It's gonna come out one way or the other. So get it out so that it puts you in that mode. You're in that rhythm. And so then it'll be easier to write your book, and you'll be writing your book from a different place than just now telling that story. So, I mean, I experienced depression and all kinds of attacks each time. I mean, I had to learn to start praying before reading. I had to tell my editor, pray, take breaks. You know what I mean? Because we're dealing with, like you said, traumas, and it gets heavy. And it's not to say that it's a depressing book or a sad book, because in the trauma, you also hear and learn about their triumph. You see how they overcame. You see where the strength to overcome whatever the situation is, where it came from. I mean, we're talking about relationships between mother and daughter. There was one story, a Pretty Sad Volume 1. She talks about having an abortion as a teenager, how that affected her, what it did to her, and how it impacted her relationship with her daughter, but then how all of that helped her with her relationship with her mother years later. So it's from one end of the spectrum to the other. But I can literally say, when I look at these stories, it's like looking in the mirror. There's a part of me in each one. And I say that amongst the ladies too, like we're all interconnected and we don't even know it. It's women all over the world, but it gives you a sense of, not so much peace, and I don't really know the word, but there's just it's a comforting feeling when you know it's not just me. And so that's what the project is about. It's not just you, and we're highlighting that it's not just you, but also if they can overcome, you can overcome. And if you're in the middle of it, look at how they got out of it, because you could come out of it too.
Absolutely. Now,
and you read the book.
Let me ask you really quick, Tam. I just want to go back really quick and piggyback off of something that you said in reference to healing. When it comes to the word healing, I really don't believe that, or healed, I really don't believe there's no such thing as being healed. I do believe that there is a such thing as a process, that there's healing that's taking place, because we may not never be 100% whole ever again, right? but we are at a point in our life where we're able to live our life differently, right? But I think that there's always healing taking place. But I don't think that there's no one who is like healed, because you could like today, say for instance, listen, I was molested as a child by multiple people, all that good stuff, right? I'm over that. I'm past it. I would not say that I'm healed from it, because there are a whole bunch of other moving parts to that. When you talk about trauma, there's so many other things that go along with that. Just like we have a show that's coming up at the end of November, and we're talking about PTSD, right? You may not think that you have the PTSD, but guess what? Soon as that boyfriend do something that resembled what that other boyfriend did, you be like, oh, wait, hold on. So that's why I say I don't really believe that there's no such thing as being healed from something, but there's always healing that's taking place.
I like to say, and I understand everything you said, it makes a lot of sense. I like to say that, you know, at first I used to say, don't cope, don't cope, don't cope. You got to heal. But coping is the process of getting to heal, right? And so what I say to that is, you don't know that you're healed until you're put in a position to respond as a healed woman or man, or just coping, right? And so I wouldn't say that there is no heal, that you can't get to a healed place. Is it a lot of work? Absolutely. But the only thing is, the only way you'll know that you are in a position, and okay, we can remove the word heal. You're in a position to where it doesn't affect you the way that it affected you before. Let's say that. Is by being put in that position. I know as a young girl that, you know, you have a little boyfriend or a little boy that you like, and then y'all stop talking and you're like, I'm cool, I'm over him. Heck, as a grown woman, I'm talking about as a little girl.
Right.
And then you see that person, it could be a year later, and those butterflies, something started going on in your body because you aren't really over that person. It's just out of sight, out of mind. So if I'm not put in a position to experience that thing anymore, I'm not talking about it, I'm not thinking about it, I'm not reading it, and I'm not seeing it, it feels like I'm healed. And then I'm put in a position to respond as a woman that is healed, or just coping, and that is what's going to define my location. That's what I'm trying to say.
And that's what I'm trying. You're right about that, and that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Correct.
Yeah. So this is good. This entire book, I really wish that we could have all of the journeys on here with us, because I'm sure that everyone ultimately got the same outcome, feeling, emotion personally, but everyone have their own way of getting to where they got it, right? So it may have taken some days for someone to write their story and say, okay, like talk to themselves. You will let this out, because it's so easy for us to just swallow it, put on that mask and keep walking, right? Because so many people are looking to us as a shero. And so how dare I show my vulnerability or my weakness, because I don't want to be put in a position where now they may lose it, or they may not be as strong as they could be had I shown my strength. And so it's like a thin line with that. You know, sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves and we're going crazy on the inside, but everybody else is getting better and healing and getting good with what their walk is, while I'm over here like,
Right.
Listen, so we don't want to take up too much of your time. We just would really want to encourage you to get the book. By getting the book, you might find that you have a story to tell, and there will be more anthologies in the future. So not just that though, just to support the women, and with purchasing the book, you're also supporting the movement. The book falls under what's called the Time to Tell movement, and it was birthed out of that very first book. Time to Tell is a movement about exposing secrets and lies. Most of us grew up during the time where what goes on in our house stayed in the house, and if you told your mom and them business, guess what was going to happen when you got home? So we didn't talk about what happened. And a lot of people who experience abuse are threatened and told to be silent. That's why we have the Silent No More movement. That's Venus's movement, but we have these movements that are all going in the same direction, because it's time to tell the truth. There's no more time, no more secrets. We can't be silent no more. We have, look at what has happened. Look how widespread sex trafficking is, how widespread domestic abuse is. And those are things that we're not talking about it. We're not talking about it, especially in the church. We're not talking about it enough.
Yeah.
And so you're supporting that movement by purchasing the book. You're not just getting in and reading these stories. You're supporting the movement. We've got a scholarship foundation and all sorts of things that are connected. Venus and I have joined forces with her movement. And like I said, we're headed in the right direction, the same direction, I'm sorry, that the ultimate goal is to help encourage healing. Encourage healing. Because you could say you live in your best life, but you can live your best life for real when you're walking from a healed place. Let me just say this, and then we're going to wrap up. Yes, let me say this and we'll wrap up. If you are in war and you got on your full gear like a soldier, right? You got your gear head to toe, your gun and everything, but you get shot in the leg. That bullet is now in your leg, so you have been wounded. You still got your gear on though and your gun. You've been trained for war. You could keep fighting and running toward the enemy if you want, but you're wounded and you're bleeding. So you're not going to be as effective as you could be without that wound. So you have to heal. You have to get the wound out. You have to allow your body time to heal and recover so that you can go to war effectively. It's the same thing with emotional wounds, mental wounds, sexual abuse, all the things that we were told not to talk about. It's time to tell. And we will be silent no more. So get the book, you guys. Support the movement. The rest of this month, we're going to be popping in here and there with interviews for some of the co-authors. We're going to be doing some raffles to get you ready for next month's book. Question and answers. If you guys want to post about the book as you're reading it, we encourage you to do that. And if anybody wants the book and is unable to afford the book, inbox me. And that's between me and you. That's all I have. You guys have any final words, Tam, Venus?
Well, you know what? Listen, y'all, we women, we are about to take over. We are about to take over. This next decade is all about us. It's all about us. So we're not being silent no more. It's a total time to tell. And I'm listen, you can,
and we're gonna rise.
Right.
We're gonna rise, Tam.
You can tell any abuser, any predator, anybody, any of them that you know or somebody know, let them know we coming for them. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So here's the thing. Silent no more. We're going to be silent no more because it's a time to tell, and we're going to have brutal courage so that we can rise.
Ladies, there you go.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be good. This is going to be great, and this is going to be God. So thanks for joining us this evening, ladies.
Bye.
See you guys later.